So as most people probably know, there is a brand new poll that was just dropped from the New York Times, and everyone is losing their minds. You have people claiming it's the end of Trump, his approval's collapsing, it's all over because the New York Times found Trump below water, not by 1 or 2 points. No. According to the New York Times, Trump right now is -12. And everyone is losing their minds over this poll. So I decided, you know what? We got to talk about the recent trend of polls in the past couple of weeks because, let's be honest here, it has gotten ridiculous what these polls are showing. Now, I should clear about one thing. Is it possible that Trump is below water right now? Yes. In fact, I would argue as of now, his numbers right now are probably below water by a couple points. If it's not 50-50, it's probably like -2, -3, somewhere in that range. But these polls are not showing -2. They're not showing -3, which would be reasonable. And in fact, I think that's the number right now. But they're showing -15, -20, -30 compared to just a couple months ago, which is insane. Listen, I don't care who you are. If you really believe this many Trump voters are now saying, oh yeah, we disapprove of Trump, you're hacked. Is it possible some are? Yes, the polls are showing like a couple percent here and there. Yeah, some are saying they regret their vote or whatever. But at the same time, there's like the same number of Harris supporters saying, oh, I should have voted for Trump. But the point is, this idea that this many Trump voters are now saying they hate Trump, does that make any logical sense? No. The average Trump voter loves what he's doing. Yet these polls, by some miracle, are finding Trump is hated by everybody, and not just on some issues like the economy. No. They're claiming that the issue of immigration is currently underwater for Trump. And stuff like mass deportations, which just 5 minutes ago, it was popular. Everyone was admitting that they support mass deportations. By some miracle, out of nowhere, these same polls are now showing, oh, actually, no one supports mass deportations. Everyone actually wants amnesty, which is bullshit. That is not true. People don't change their minds that quickly. It takes years for that to happen. It doesn't change overnight where, oh, immigration's actually a good thing. We want more illegal immigration. We don't want mass deportations. That's insane to even suggest that. But people began to look more into this poll and they realized, here we go again. The same crap they've been pulling for years. Mark Mitchell, the top pollster at Rasmussen Reports, he dug into the poll. And apparently, this poll had serious problems with it. For starters, according to the New York Times, 16% of their sample did not even vote in 2024. Which, think about that for a second. 2024 was a very high turnout election. You really can't get any higher than that, all right? That's like probably the maximum for now. It could go a little bit higher, I guess, maybe by a couple percent. But they're claiming that 16% of their sample did not even vote in 2024. And apparently these 16% of voters, they all hate Trump. They're 100% against Trump. They hate his guts, which is like, wait, what? So these people, they didn't vote in 2024, which had record high turnout. Outside of 2020, the turnout was super duper high, yet they're 16% of the sample. I know voters change, I get that, but it's been only a couple months. And now you're finding these magical voters that all hate Trump? Really? But it's not just that. Apparently, the independent sample was D+17, which means these people are partisan Dems. And apparently, I was saying this earlier, but the poll actually showed that a small, like a 2% majority of voters said they were in favor of deportations. Yeah, so an issue that 5 minutes ago was like +50, +60, is now like +1. But it gets even crazier as US Today reported this poll, and they claimed that more than 75% of Americans disapprove of Trump's handling of the economy. But in reality, that was just the general economy, not how Trump's doing. That's just how people think the economy is right now. So the media's not even reporting the correct numbers of an already shitty poll to make it sound even worse for Trump. This is what they're doing now. I don't know what these polls are trying to do. Actually, I do know. They're trying to gaslight people into thinking, oh yeah, Trump is below water by 30 points. Everything he does is hated by the average American. You know, it's all over. Which it's not true. The average Trump voter loves what he's doing. Are there some that are saying, not so fast? Yes, but that's like 2%. That's like 3% of Trump voters, if that. And even then, most polls are showing that like 2 to 3% of Harris voters, they're now saying, yeah, we support Trump now. So it should be like 50-50. If not that, maybe below water by a couple points. Not negative 15 points, not negative 20 like the New York Times, like Reuters are pushing, which again, these same pollsters, remember back in 2024? Back in August and September of 2024, the same pollsters, like the New York Times, they were pushing the idea that Kamala Harris was going to sweep every single swing state. She was going to win the popular vote by 15 points. It's all over for Trump. And for those that don't believe me, let's just look at some of the New York Times polls back in 2024, okay? 2024 in Arizona. Let's scroll down here. Yeah, in August of 2024, they had Harris up by 5. But magically, a month later, it swung 10 points towards Trump, and he won by 4. Or I should say 5.5, okay? That's what they pushed in August of 2024. So, let's just keep going. Pennsylvania, all right? Trump won the state by just under 2 points. Same deal. August of 2024, Harris plus 4. September, Harris plus 3. As late as October 10th, they still had a Harris plus 3. But at the last second, they found it tied. Are you noticing a trend here? Let's go to Michigan, all right? Trump won the state by 1.5. August of 2024, Harris plus 4. In September, Harris plus 1. Then it was tied. Wisconsin, same thing. Harris plus 4. Their final was Harris plus 2. So the New York Times in 2024, what they did was they pushed bullshit in August and September, trying to hype up Harris, make it seem like she was surging. But the last second, they made the polls close so they could say, well, we picked up on momentum with Trump in the last days. That's why he won. No, Trump was always winning. He was always going to win. All right, it might have got close in August or whatever. That's one thing when Harris first joined the race. But the New York Times was pushing bullshit in 2024 in all the swing states. They were pushing the same crap that Harris is surging and Trump is going to lose. But at the last second, they magically found Trump surging. No, they didn't. They realized that, oh crap, we are about to be wrong yet again. So, we're not going to show Trump winning. We're just going to show him either tied or losing by a small margin and claim we're right no matter what. That's exactly what they did. So don't let people on Twitter fool you. The New York Times in 2024 sucked. They just made it seem like, oh, they were closer than usual because they knew Trump was going to win. That's what happened. So if they can't pull a race properly, like a presidential race, if they can't pull it properly, and in fact, they pull crap where they have Harris surging, but in reality, she's not. Do you really think you can really trust this New York Times crap 100%? Listen, I'm not saying that it's wrong because it's negative 12. I'm not saying that. If it was like Atlas Intel or Rasmussen or Qantas Insight saying showing the same thing, fine. That's not good for Trump. But the more you look at this poll and compare it to just 2 months ago, these same polls are showing completely different things, different demographics. Everything is going crazy. That's what's happening. And speaking of Qantas Insights, which is a good pollster, they found Trump underwater, but by only 2 points. And in fact, compared to March, it actually went up. So the good pollsters, yeah, they have Trump down by a couple points, but not by 30 points or whatever. It's down by 2. But even Quantus Insights, they found something interesting. If the war in Ukraine ends, okay, which it sounded like we're getting very close to the war ending, 67% of those that took this poll said Trump deserves credit for ending the war. I really believe, and this is my take, if he gets a deal done with Ukraine and Russia to end the war and gets a bunch of trade deals done, his approval is going to surge. All right, especially from the good pollsters. The New York Times, they're never going to show him up unless it gets like really good for him. Then they might show him up by 1 point. But you think I'm crazy, but that's what Quantus Insight's finding. If Trump gets these deals done, people will say, okay, he did a good job, we were wrong. And in fact, it doesn't even seem like his base is moving. There was a focus group conducted by Frank Luntz, who is not a pro-Trump guy, far from it, and it's a panel of Trump voters, and he was shocked. They're all saying, hey, we're fine with what Trump is doing. All right, we are fine with it. I mean, he's trying to make it sound like, oh, it's the end of the world, you know, your 401ks are going away, you're going to be bankrupt. And these voters are saying, again, these are Trump supporters, they're saying, we voted for this. We voted for change. And again, they may not be 100% happy with Trump, but they voted for this, and they still support him. These are his core voters. And that's what the panel showed, that these people are saying, we don't really care. We don't really care. We're not falling for this BS. So, I really believe that his numbers right now, they're below water. There's some independents that might not like him now. But if Trump gets a deal done with Ukraine, gets trade deals done, his approval is going to go back up. It might go up to like 55%. I believe that. I truly believe that. That's the thing holding him back. Because you ask people about Trump, not what the polls are showing, just ask people. And the majority will tell you they like what he's doing, but there's some things that they're questioning. They're like, the economy, we're a bit worried about it, which makes sense. Like when you see the stock market go crazy, some people kind of panic. But if he gets trade deals done and ends the war in Ukraine, his numbers will go way up. It's going to go up to like 55, 56%. That's my prediction. But we'll see what happens. Either way, though, I can't believe people are falling for the same crap. Like, if it was -3 or whatever, that's reasonable. But when it's -12 and the actually good pollsters are showing, you know, -1, -2, 50-50, who are you going to trust more? The New York Times, which this poll's already full of crap the more you look into it, but do you trust them when they have a history of being full of crap and just being awful? Or do you trust Rasmussen? Do you trust Quantus Insights, Atlas Intel, Richard Bears? Do you trust them? I'm going to say, I'm going with the others. I'm not going to trust the New York Times or Reuters, yet some people, like people on the right, these same people are falling for the same psyop. Like, I don't know what these people are thinking. They're now claiming it's over for Trump because the New York Times said he's down by 12. These same people in 2024 were claiming it's over for Trump in, say, Michigan because the New York Times has him losing. How did that turn out? Anyways, folks, we shall see what happens, but I do really believe that his numbers are still in a good situation considering. They are. I mean, it's not -20. It's not the best, but it's not -20. It's in a situation where these numbers could skyrocket anytime. If he gets deals done, I really believe it will. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.